It is time for a new ban list for Master Duel, and we're going to be applying this ban list on twitch.tv/DK this Sunday using the new ban list in its entirety. Now, it is time. First, let's see what's the tier list looking like going into this ban list. We can see that Maliss is the top deck by far. And what I'm hoping, and I think a lot of people are hoping, is that Apollo USA will be on the ban list. I don't want to bring up the search here because I may spoil myself. Apollo's banned in the TCG, it's banned in the OCG, and it got banned in the OCG because of Maliss, and I think it's been terrorizing Master Duel. So with that cope and hope, let's hop into the ban list. Boom. Implemented August 4th, which will be the new pack day. I will also be streaming on that day of the new pack release. Cards to be unlimited. All right, let me zoom in a bit more. Unlimited, unlimited. What? Gateway of the 6? This card is limited to 1 in TCG and OCG still. No freaking way. This is spoiling the next pack, by the way. This definitely means that 6 Samurai is coming in the next pack. What? Let's, not on Master Meta. Let's click on Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta so I don't get spoiled on the rest of the ban list. Let's type in 6 Sam and sort by release date here. Here are the new 6 Samurai cards, the new Shien. Unlike the other Shien, which has a spell and trap card negate, this is a monster negate, and it is not a once per turn, hard once per turn that is, so you can have multiple copies of this Shien and just keep on negate, negate, negate. What else is good here? I've only pretty much know this very well. Let's click on this. TCG stats, how well it's been doing. A single regional top in the TCG, unfortunately. What about OCG? OCG stats, OCG. All right, well, it has not been doing that well, but that's okay. In Master Duel, things are a bit different, and you're more likely to want to play and enjoy a rogue deck like 6 Samurai, and I guess because it has not been doing that well is more so a reason why they put the freaking Gateway of the 6 at 3. If you're unfamiliar with this, this card is pretty much infinitely looping as you're searching your deck continually. Every time you summon a 6 Samurai, you put 2 counters on this card. You remove 4 counters from this card to add a 6 Samurai from your deck or graveyard. So all you have to do is, as long as you're summoning 2 6 Samurais, you search a 6 Samurai. Summon 2, search 1. Summon 2, search 1. You do it, and then if you have 2 gateways, you're gaining, it's just summon 1, because you summon once, you now gain 4 freaking counters, and oh my, how is this going to be real? Someone was asking me earlier saying, hey, DK, please, can Gateway of the 6 become unlimited? And I said only if you promise to not perform any degenerate first turn kills with this, and then Konami may consider it. Well, I don't know if they made the necessary precautions to scathe off the first turn kills that are coming with this possibly, but we will find out. Oh my Jesus. I guess before the new cards come out, at least on the tournament this Sunday, it's not really going to mean anything having 3 Gateway for this event unless someone's an absolute mad lad. I'd love to see it. Probably going to have to wait for the new support like Shien, which should be on August 4th, as this is definitely leaking that, I would say. Now, let's see, of course, educated guess. Let's see. Forbidden, Dweller, what? Dweller from 3 to 0. Wow, okay. It was banned in the other formats because of Ryzeal. So is this a Ryzeal pretty much a prediction from Konami? They're pretty much telling us that, I mean, we know that 6 Samurai is going to be coming, but now is this meaning that Ryzeal is coming? Why? Because right now, it's not really that much of an issue. Mermail is playing it. Shark is a rogue deck. If we look at the tier list, it's not really that big of a deal, and you can maybe say, oh, well, maybe Dweller is hurting Konami's sales of the newer deck. No, Maliss does not care about a Dweller, and so this definitely is meaning to me. Let's click on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta. Let's go on the search up here. We have the Decks feature. We're going to type in Dweller, and then we're going to type in Ryzeal, right? EXT Ryzeal. So you could see a bunch of people are playing it in that deck because it is a rank 4 spam deck. And of course, also in the OCG, where you're just going to Dweller it up and just completely turn off the graveyard. What's really good about Ryzeal is they could very easily, without much trouble at all, spit out 3 rank 4s in a single turn. So generally, They'll make a detonator, they'll make a duo drive, and then they could add a dweller on top of the field. Now, without dweller, the third body is up for contention on what the best third body is to even summon. And with Dweller now banned in Master Duel, this really makes me think that Ryzeal is possibly also coming with Six Samurai. Now, the one reservation I have about Ryzeal coming in the next pack is that, has Konami ever had two amazing packs in a row? We had just Maliss came out, and then, well, wait a second, didn't Sprite and we had Tearlament come right after Sprite, right? Or, no, actually it didn't. It was February was Sprite, then March was some other nonsense, and then we had Tearlament come out in April. So this would, I think, be the first time two Tier 1 decks come out back to back. And you have to also note that this pack that we're getting for early August is going to be the final pack for the World Championship. Now, there's a theory that maybe they want the little girls of Maliss to do well at Worlds, and then people that don't play Master Duel get interested in the game, and then maybe Ryzeal would take away from that. Or maybe Worlds would actually just be a lot more exciting if they just release Ryzeal with this. So I'm sorry that I'm so much on Dweller right now. It's just making me think this. So let's get right to the rest of the ban list. What? Scythe? Oh my Jesus. You know what I have to say about this? Ryzeal's coming. Oh my Jesus. This is a Ryzeal hit also. Like, look at this, look at this. Okay, let's take off Dweller. Let's put in Scythe. Scythe, boom. Look at that, Artifact Scythe and EXT Ryzeal. You have a 400 player event here. They have it in the side deck. You have it in the side deck, that's fine. Outside the side deck, here are people main decking it. Main decked in a 4,000 player event where Dweller is now banned, Scythe is banned, and what Scythe is doing is it's turning off your opponent's extra deck, and it's very easily activatable because your main monster detonator pretty much says that if your opponent activates or does anything, you could then chain to pop any card in the field, including your own card. So you would, of course, just pop your own Artifact Scythe. And in this build, they're playing Sanctum, which they could summon from the deck a Lancia to help beat Maliss, or summon a Scythe to completely shut off the opponent's extra deck for the turn. I will now be shocked if, oh boy, oh my, is Konami pulling a fast one on us? I'm gonna have to research this right after the full ban list. I'm gonna research it on stream with you, okay? We're gonna, I'm thinking about Totally Awesome. Did Totally Awesome get banned right before Sprite, or did they ban Totally Awesome and then Sprite came out 2 months after? They might be pulling a fast one on us. I am confident that Six Samurai is coming on the next pack, but for Ryzeal, I mean, this looks like it, that Ryzeal would be coming, but again, they could just be tricking us. Let's see. Okay, we have Dweller, Scythe. Oh, buddy, Paradise Smasher. Oh boy, this Floodgate it's a 93% chance when you summon this with 3 level 5 monsters to have the effect of your opponent cannot activate monster effects nor declare an attack until the end of the next freaking turn. And the deck that's using and abusing this right now is Memento. But I had in my prediction of my last ban list prediction video, I had to make a new one for this ban list, that Apollo USA and Paradise Smasher were the 2 future hits that were going to be announced in the future because of the K9 cards. If we click on the OCG stats, Vanquish Soul, it's pretty much going to be all the K9 cards. K9, you see the K9 engine, K9 deck itself, K9 deck. It's a rank 5 spam deck, and then Konami didn't wait. And I'm happy to see it because we had this card do very well in the last Meta Weekly. In fact, I think it was in the #1 winning deck. I don't want to look at it in case I may get spoiled on other hits here, but 3 freaking bans. Wait, full changes. I was going to say, though, hold up, no Apollo. Oh, my Jesus, really, Konami? You couldn't add Apollo USA to this freaking ban list? And I would think that Six Samurai could also easily just spam an Apollo on the field with their endless freaking special summoning, so it's definitely going to help them out also. But wow. They hit the Smasher. Apollo is an immediate issue right now because of Maliss, and it was hit because of Maliss in the OCG. Paradise Smasher is kind of an issue right now, not as prevalent as Apollo making non-interactive games, but this is more so for the future release of K9, yet they hit this early. So that is quite perplexing to me that they would hit this over Apollo. If I were to had bet on what they would hit first, I definitely would have said Apollo. So wow, crazy Konami. And then this is the full freaking change. So I now have to remember, I was gonna look up Totally Awesome. I don't want to forget that. All right, so cards be forbidden, Dweller, Scythe, both prominently used in Ryzeal, and I can say with 90% certainty that Dweller and Scythe were banned because of Ryzeal abusing these cards, in the OCG that is. So that is a huge indicator that Ryzeal is coming. And so before I look at the Totally Awesome, I'm trying to collect my thoughts here. Let's see a card like Node Ryzeal. When did it come out? It came out in the OCG August 24th. And if we look at Maliss, when did Maliss come out? Maliss came out August 24th. They came out in the same exact pack. So that is why a lot of people, including myself, are expecting for Ryzeal to be coming out at any moment. So when you have these big hits like Scythe and Dweller pretty much telling you that Ryzeal is on its way to come out, that's why I'm going absolutely nuts now. This is crazy. There's been some stuff on Reddit and just general talk. People are talking about the TCG dying or whatever nonsense. But for Master Duel, let's see this. I think Master Duel is having a really bad month. And if we look at here, let's go down real quick from June, July. We had 25K, 22K. Who cares that's release here? We don't want to be paying attention to that too much. And then it's going to pretty much set itself good by 2023. 19K, 17K average users. This is concurrent users online. So throughout an entire day, this could be upwards of 100,000 people. But the average concurrent users, 19K, 17K. Let's look at 2024 now. 19K, 17K. Look at that. That's pretty much, we got our player base, right? Boom. Just like that, 19, 17K concurrent users. Now we go to 2025. And it's looking not so good. What the heck is happening in Master Duel? 16K from 19K, just talking about June. And while July is not over yet, it pretty much almost is. The last 30 days, it's just a little bit into June, but mostly July, 14,000 average concurrent players when it's normally 17,000. That is quite a drop. 19, 17K, 16, 14K. And so where am I getting at with this? Well, I think Konami's acknowledging that people don't like this. They don't like one deck to rule them all, which is Maliss right now. While, oh, but it's not tier 0. The only reason it is not tier 0 is for, look at that, I don't even have to scroll. This card. Most people are playing 3 of a card that literally says against Maliss, skip their turn. They can't perform more than a normal summon. They can't set up any inherent in-engine disruption. If you resolve a Lancia in their freaking draw phase or standby phase, they are then solely reliant on their hand traps. That's why a ton of them are playing a lot more hand traps than usual so that they could safely just pass against a freaking Lancia. So again, Lancia is also, not again, but I should say Lancia itself is also hurting a lot of decks. You had Crystron, tier 1, great deck. A lot of people kept on asking me, DK, should I go into Crystron? Please, I need to know, but I know Maliss or Ryzeal's on the horizon. All I could have said back then is that Maliss or Ryzeal is coming soon, and when they do that, Crystron's gonna not be as good, but now that Maliss was the deck to come out instead of Ryzeal, and it pushed everyone to play Lancia, well, that has screwed up Crystron. Crystron dropped all the way down to freaking trending 2 power level when it was up at tier freaking 1. So if we look real quick here, you could type in a deck type. I like doing this a lot when I'm typing, looking up decks to see how good a card like Lancia is against them. And then you type in the word banish. And then if you're on PC, you can control F. And then you can find the card, banish to special summon, banish to search your deck, banish to summon 2 cards in the deck. So you Lancia against them, it kills them. So not only is Maliss just a better deck, it's forcing everyone to play a Lancia to counter also Crystron. And also what I think is making people a lot upset, which contributes toward this, not only with Maliss absolutely dominating, how freaking annoying is it for you to use a Call by the Grave And then they chain Lancia. And what are you trying to finger? You're trying to finger their Maxi, already a degenerate card. So now Lancia has made a card that most people hate even more protected and more powerful. That is freaking insane, which I think is thus leading to a lot less people wanting to play. And what was I going to be looking up? Totally Awesome, right? Okay, let's not get lost in the sauce here. Totally Awesome was banned. I got to look at when it was banned, actually. So we want the Forbidden Limited list changes. And how would I look this up? We look up, do I have the history? History, okay. Totally was banned in, oh my Jesus, February 13th is when it was banned. Isn't that when Sprite came out? The point of us looking this up is if they banned Totally Awesome much more preemptively before Sprite's release, thus giving us a better indicator if Ryzeal is actually coming or not. I think that is when it came out, though. Sprite, February 14th. So essentially the same freaking day. This is like a European time, 13th, 14th. Wow. I think I'm even more confident that Ryzeal, alongside, more so Six Samurai, I'm feeling really confident about, but Ryzeal, that should definitely be coming. And if Konami were not planning Ryzeal to come out this soon, this probably changed their mind. They're going, hey, people do not like a single deck meta where it is the most dominant and then it's forcing everyone to play this toxic Lancia side deck card. What's also toxic about Lancia is I don't want to play it in my deck. I don't want to be forced to play it. If I want to play a non-Maliss deck, I don't want to have to shoehorn in 3 copies of Lancia, further homogenizing other deck lists when I want to try to make something unique. I already am forced to play 2 Maxi, 3 Ash, 2 Called By. Probably you also want to play 3 Impermanents, and possibly even a Crossout Designator. Now, we have increased the staples, the required cards to you have to play 3 Lancia. I don't want to freaking do that. But if you don't, you are inherently at a downside. And so what does this actually mean for Lancia when Ryzeal comes out? Well, that's going to be a difficult scenario to really predict what's going to happen here. Ryzeal is definitely going to give Maliss some trouble. And I think with the relevance of Ryzeal, it's going to make you want to not play Lancia, because Lancia against Ryzeal does nothing against them. Thus, you're going to want, a lot of people have been taking Imperm out of their deck because it's not so good against Maliss. They very easily play around it. But Imperm is one of the best key cards to stop Ryzeal from popping off. To showcase that real quick, and I also want to show the tier list of Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta. So we could go on tier list here. Let's do last 6 months for TCG, Maliss and Ryzeal, and then OCG, Maliss, Ryzeal kind of drop in, unfortunately. Now, there was an event, but there is a lot to know about this, the Osaka event. Ryzeal, 8 out of the top 16 in a 4,000 player event. Maliss was only 1. Now, what exactly was this event? It was a YCS officially from Konami where the entire event, including the top cut, is best of 1. No side deck, no best of 3, none of that. But this is what Maliss looked like back. Actually, we don't have the Maliss deck list, but I can tell you they didn't have March Hare. And Ryzeal also didn't have Star Ryzeal, which we should be expecting because we got March Hare. We would then expect to get the Star Ryzeal. So we type in March Hare here. March Hare came out in the OCG January 25th. And if I do the semicolon, let's type in Star Ryzeal. We're going to actually do the line, whatever this is called. There you go, Star Ryzeal, January. So if we receive March Hare, we should definitely be receiving the Star Ryzeal. And this card is truly a star. It breaks Ryzeal immensely. It's crazy. In fact, I think it makes the deck a lot more toxic because it was quite transparent that the main choke point of the deck was a duo drive because it searches for 2 cards, similar to Wishes, right? You want to save your disruption for the Wishes, which only Ash could stop. Now, Duo Drive, if you save a monster effect for it because the Star Ryzeal would be coming out with it, they're very likely not going to be activating Duo Drive unless they have a field spell, which will now negate your monster effect. But if you hold your impermanence, your imperm can safely be used on the Duo Drive to dodge the field spell from being able to negate it, where otherwise this will be negating the Ash or any other effect trying to stop the Duo Drive from searching the deck for 2 cards. And my point being that we're not going to have room for Lancia. Now, I fear that when Ryzeal comes out for the first week or 2, or at least I would say mass still happens quite quickly, the meta, I would say, even within events, the people are going to be taking out Lancia because of Ryzeal, but then in the second week, I think Maliss is just going to be skyrocketing because of people taking out Lancia. So in the end, Lancia is probably still here to say it's going to make you lose against Ryzeal, but if you don't play, you're going to lose against Maliss. So what does that even mean for this? I don't know. I guess the Lancia still may be necessary, but at least there'll be 2 top decks instead of just 1. And maybe players will like that more. Maybe you like the aesthetic more than instead of playing the little girls, you could play the robots, I guess, right? This looks kind of cool. Detonator's great. It blows things up on the field, right? Including itself if you want to. So I think we could check out what are people saying in the comments? They should be, after refreshing, we had 20 comments, now it's 40. They should be talking about Ryzeal, right? Straight up. In fact, without even going to the comments, I'm going to Control F Ryzeal. Look at that. Boom. Jumping down. Well, next pack is definitely Ryzeal in 6M, echoing the same sentiment that we had. Thus, in case you didn't trust me that Scythe and Dweller were tied to Ryzeal, people are thinking the same thing. And then I even, did the due diligence of looking up Totally Awesome, but there's something in the back of my head. I remember Konami hit a card that made me think a deck was coming out in the very next month because of that card they hit, but then it ended up coming out 2 months later instead of immediately with that ban list. If maybe you could help remind me in the comments, or maybe I'm just making that up. You tell me. Was Scythe 4? It was Ryzeal. Ryzeal. Now, they didn't have a way to set it from the deck consistently. They were just hard draw it or draw it with the Sanctum, then get popping. And also, you could use the Thrust. So you have Sanctum, Artifact Sanctum, you use the Triple Tactics Thrust, you set the Sanctum, summon the Scythe, you pop the Scythe with the Detonator, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, you win. Floodgate ban and Ryzeal's in the next back, confirmed. No Apollo, yep, I'm quite upset about that. And Dweller ban, Ryzeal incoming, Ryzeal, everyone's saying it. Welcome Ryzeal, 6 Salmon Ryzeal. Now, no one could question 6 Samurai. I know anyone who's not talking about this is probably because they don't care about this deck, but we should definitely get 6 Samurai. But Ryzeal, I would say, is a big maybe. More likely than a maybe. And I think I'm going to stop rambling. It's later than usual. Thank you for listening to this, and I appreciate you all very much. We'll be having the new Banlist event on Sunday, and I'll probably be talking about a bunch of Ryzeal nonsense on that Sunday and theory crafting on what potentially the future of the Masto meta will be with Ryzeal's release and how it's going to impact Lancia and Maliss and the best way to play Ryzeal. And I guess I'll be preemptively working on a guide for Ryzeal. So thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video and or on twitch.tv/DK this Sunday. We are out.